A reading from the Gospel of Matthew. Jesus said, "Not everyone who says to me, 'Lord, Lord,' will enter the kingdom of heaven, but only the one who does the will of my Father in heaven. On that day, many will say to me, 'Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name and cast out demons in your name and do many deeds of power in your name?' Then I will declare to them, 'I never knew you. Go away from me, you evildoers.' Everyone then who hears these words of mine and acts on them will be like a wise man who built his house on rock. The rain fell, the floods came, the winds blew and beat on that house, but it did not fall, because it had been founded on rock. And everyone who hears these words of mine and does not act on them will be like a foolish man who built his house on sand. The rain fell, the floods came, the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell, and great was its fall." Now, when Jesus had finished saying these things, the crowds were astounded at his teaching, for he taught them as one having authority and not as their scribes. We come in this section then to the culmination of 2 full chapters in the Gospel of Matthew of Jesus teaching in this epic chunk of teaching known as the Sermon on the Mount, where Jesus lays out for his disciples and those who are listening in what it means to be a follower of his, what it means to live a good life, what it means to live in accordance with his Father in heaven. And he comes here to the end and puts a pretty fine point on it. He says, if you hear these things and do them, then you will be living in my Father's kingdom. If you hear these things and do not do them, then I don't know you. I don't know you, and you won't live in the kingdom of heaven. I don't know how your quarantine has been going, but one of the things I've noticed, my phone is extremely excited to share with me all sorts of new things that it thinks I need to know, including, for some reason, thinking I need to know more about exercises that I can do in my home. And dutifully, as they pass by on my screen, on my home screen, if something catches my eye, oh, planks, that would be lovely. I open the article, I glance through it, and I think this would be a good thing for me to do. And I then file it away into this little app I have that keeps all of these things for me in little magazines. My magazine for that is called Healthy Exercise or something like that. And I have been doing that for a while. And not so long ago, I was plunking one of those articles about how I could healthfully work out at home into my little file. And I thought, this is just great. I have so many wonderful exercises that I can be doing at home. But one day as I was doing that recently, I was kind of just taking my cursor and putting it over there and realizing, I'm not sure that these exercises are going to help me if I simply file them into this file folder. I might actually have to do some of them. So I think Jesus, if that sounds familiar to you, welcome to my club. But I think Jesus is trying to tell everybody, all of us, I'm not saying this because these are helpful tips that it would be good for you to acknowledge as helpful and file away somewhere. I am giving you these teachings so that you can hear them and you can do them. And that's how you will have fullness of life. That's how you will live in my Father's kingdom. That's how you will live in right relationship to me, to God my Father, and to one another. And so I hope that as we come to the end of this wonderful collection of Jesus's inspiring and life-giving teachings, that we're not leaving there thinking those are all very nice. I'll just put these right in here for my file for how to live a good life and let them sit there. They only help us. They only connect us more deeply to God and to one another if we hear them and do them. So may God give you strength, courage, awareness, humor, and a little bit of mercy towards self. But may God encourage you to not file these away, but to pull them out of the file, to hear them and to do them, so that we might be more deeply connected to God and to one another. Through Christ we pray. Amen.